Brinks trade. This is a high probability reversal trade that happens at 3:45 a.m. and 9:45 a.m. New York times. It has over 90% success rate, and it's a trade that happens every week, once in a week or 2 times in a week, based on the pair. Some pairs happens more than the others. The rules. You have to see the ADR must be completed first before either the 3:45 time reaches AM or the 9:45 AM New York time. Second, you have to identify the initial high of the day or the initial low of the day. Identify the vector. This is what will complete the ADR. Locate now the high of the day or the low of the day, and spot the M or W formation, and then use the 13 EMA entry rules to take the trade. This is GBP USD. I remember when this formed, the ADR was around 60 pips. So on this date completed the ADR, it went 71 pips. On this case, it went before the 9:45. So here is where you have the 3:45, the London Open, and the 9:45 at the New York Open. On this case, it will completed the ADR before the New York Open. So first, we have identified the ADR has been completed. It was 61, 62 pips. It went 71 pips. So it completed the ADR. If you have the ADR marker, you'll see it turn red. So if it haven't turned red, that's not a brinks trade. Okay. So let's mark it. So step 2, you mark the initial high or in the initial low. And then mark the initial low. After that, you have to see the vector. In this case, we are looking to the downside. It's the 3 candles before they give you a formation. So these are the 3 candles, 1, 2, 3 to the low. So we have a vector here, 1, 2, and 3. Okay, let me mark it. 1, 2, and 3. So after that, now we identify the W formation in this case. First, so for W to form, it has to be below the 13 EMA, go above the 13 EMA, back below the 13 EMA, and give us a namable cut. So on second leg, give us a namable candle pattern, and then close above the 13 EMA. So let's look for that. So I'll use B for below the 13 EMA. So that's B, below 13 EMA. A for above 13 EMA. And then 2 B's for back below. And then they have to give us as, so this is now our low of the day, right here. So this is now the low of the day. Sorry, low of the day. And then now namable candle pattern right here. which is our railway tracks. Use black for that. So we have railway tracks, so your entry can be right here. You have two entries on this. Or you can wait for the close above the 13 EMA and enter right there. Which now will give us back above the 13 EMA. So from there you can see, in this case, you can target the brute tracer right here, which went 54 pips if you took it after the cross. If you took it down below, it went 60 pips. Okay, so you can target the brute tracer, you can target the 50 EMA based on how they are looking. Okay, you can see in this case they were trapping the 200 EMA. Okay, so let's look for another one. This looks like it. How many pips do you end? 50 pips. I don't know whether this completed the ADR on this day, because the ADR keeps changing. You can see on the right time give us some nice pips. So let's do this one. So from the top there to the bottom. So if you're looking at it on the day it's forming, make sure that your ADR marker is red. Okay, it turns red once the ADR is completed. Okay. So how many pips are those? 54 pips. I don't know whether it completed the ADR for the day, but make sure when you are doing it, your ADR marker is red. So we have 54 pips right there. So after identifying that, so you identify the initial high of the day, that's the Asian range. Initial high and initial low. And of the low of the day. So for the vector, the 3 candles to the low, 1, 2, 3. The 3 hits, 1, 2, and then give us a hammer. So this is 1, 2, and then 3. So 1, 2, 3, they give us a hammer. So now we'll start looking for the M's and W entries pattern using the 13 EMA. So below 13 EMA, above the 13 EMA. So let me write it. I'm going to use B to represent below 13 EMA. Above 13 EMA, back below 13 EMA, and then back above 13 EMA, but we have to first see a nameable candle pattern on the second leg where they give us the railway track here with very long Sometimes they vary it. It doesn't have to be exactly 9:45 or 3:45 a.m. New York. Okay, so they might vary it, but it will be exactly near the London open box or just on the New York box. Okay, in this case they give us just a little bit early before the 9:45, because you can see this blues, this represents the 9:45 candle, and this blue right here represents the 3:45 candle. Okay, so it doesn't have to be exactly that candle, but on this case you can see that candle is the one that closed above the 13 EMA. So if you took it here, it was still a good entry. But after seeing the secondary normal candle pattern, you can just take it for a better entry and a smaller stop loss. So this is your entry. You should have entered there. And this is now the shift candle. If you took it a bit here, it's not that bad too. But I don't know how many pips that got you. Okay, so this was the best entry. This is the BRE entry. Target in this case, you can either target the 50 EMA. I don't know how many pips are here. If they're too small, yeah, they're like 8 pips. If you took it here, that was around 17 pips. Or just target the blue tracer, which was 26 pips. I don't know whether they take profit, but after they started doing this, you should be out. This is 7. I don't know whether this really completed the ADR. Okay, now this is the problem of trying to look for them, but it happened on the right timing. And if this completed the ADR, which is very near to what it's right now, so let's do it. So I said they have to complete the ADR before the 3:45 or the 9:45 candle. Okay? They have to have completed the ADR. Let's see. This was around, I think, 700 pips. Gold is really moving these days. 725 pips. So 725 pips on gold. So we look for the vector now. This is the initial high first. Actually, we come to find gold gives you these trades a lot. The initial high of the day. And the initial low of the day. Okay, now you look for the vector. You can see 1, 2, and then this very huge candle, the third one. 1, 2, 3. Let me write it. 1, 2, and then 3. So now we have the low of the day. Right there. So we start the W entry patterns. We are below the 13 EMA. above the 13 EMA. Go back below the 13 EMA. Back below, we have to see a second reg nameable candle pattern. In this case, they give us that, which is a railway track, a very nice one, and then give us the entry above the 13 EMA. So when they do this, you take it without fear. So here we have back above. Back above the 13 EMA, and this was your entry. Okay. And now you can target the high of Asia or the blue tracer, which they give you that trade. It's a beautiful one. 600 pips. Here we have another one. I don't know if I enlarge it, it's be visible. Okay, so I'm sure this completed the ADR up to this point. It went 1,190 pips. Okay, so the very first thing is to make sure the ADR is completed. Definitely this completed the ADR, whatever it was on that day. Okay, so we have said two conditions for the ADR to be completed. Either they do it before the 345 candle or they do it before the 945 candle. Okay, this case went 1,190 pips. 1,090 pips. So you first identify the initial high, initial low. So you look for the vector. In this case, they give us two candles, one small and one very huge. Okay, so vector, let's just go to vector. So that's vector. And then now we look for the high of the day. This is the high of the day. That's the high of the day. So in this case, they never give us the below the 13 EMA back above, but they give us a name-like pattern right here with a secondary nameable candle pattern. I would be a bit skeptical with this trade, but still it was a nice one. Would have ended after the railway tracks. Right there, and you can now target the blue tracer. I'm sorry, the 200 EMA. It gave us 300 points. So it's not a bad trade. So make sure you do some flashcards on this, and if you have anything, write me on the comment section and I'll get it back to you. Bye.